We've followed up Daniels, the street cleaner you spoke of. Nothing doing there, no blood, no indications whatever, no police record. He's a quiet man, rather eccentric, living alone on a street behind the hospital. Has lived where he is for the last 10 years with no interruptions. Got a bit of shrapnel in his leg in the war. Seems to have volunteered early in spite of his age, and not to have asked for any compensation since. Rather likable chap, but reticent. Better than his job, I imagine, although he doesn't say so. In these times a man takes what he can get. So, because you like him, you would rather suspect Jim Wellington. Is that it? He grinned. Well, he said, you see this shrapnel lamed him. He might have climbed a pillar of that porch, but he'd need 2 arms and 2 legs. And I don't see him carrying the axe in his teeth. I had to confess that I had not noticed that the man was lame. I suppose nobody ever really sees a street cleaner, I said. You just take them for granted. He nodded absently, he had already eliminated Daniels from his mind. These 2 women over there, the daughters. They are Mr. Lancaster's stepdaughters, I understand. Yes. I suppose they really should be called Talbot, but they were quite small when their mother married again. They have always used Mr. Lancaster's name. The Talbots didn't like it much at first, I've heard. After that he asked me once more to go over what I had seen the afternoon before, both inside and outside the Lancaster house. He was particularly interested in my entrance when Margaret and I helped Emily inside. Mr. Lancaster was in the library? Yes. Lying back in a leather chair with his eyes closed. Can you remember what he said? Margaret asked him who had told him, and he said Eben. Then she asked him if he had been upstairs, and he said no. She went out to get him a glass of wine, and then he asked Emily if it was she who had found Mrs. Lancaster, and if she had heard anything. What did she say to that? She said that she was dressing with her door closed, and that when she ran to tell Margaret, she was running a shower. That about all, Inspector? It was not until after he got the wine that he asked about the money. Oh, he asked about the money? Not in so many words. He asked if anybody had looked under the bed. Then Miss Emily remembered the gold, and she sat up and asked him if that was what he thought. He said, "What else am I to think?" The inspector considered this for some little time. Then, in your opinion, all these people acted as people would normally act, under the circumstances? I don't know what is normal in such circumstances, but I should think so. Shocked, rather than grieved, eh? Perhaps. I really don't know. You didn't think Miss Margaret rather cool? She is always like that, Inspector. And you yourself, you have no suspicions whatever? Now listen, Miss Hall. A particularly brutal murder has been committed. This is no time for scruples. People are not sent to the chair on suspicion anyhow. It takes a watertight case before any jury imposes a death sentence, and they don't do it easily even then. It's a pretty serious matter for any group of men to send another one to the chair. I shivered, there in that warm room. I've thought of nothing else since it happened, Inspector. I am being as honest as I know how when I tell you that I simply cannot conceive of anyone I know killing that poor old woman.